Hello, and welcome to another episode of Starside Chat.
I'm glad you paused to think about it because we've gotten it so wrong so many times.
I did, and I was like, oh, here's what I'll do. I'll look at the URL for our notes page. That did not help me because it just says like docs.google.com. So then I really had to think about it. But it's Starside Chat is the name of this podcast. And my name is Aaron, and with me as always is Zach. Zach, how's it going?
Pretty well, aside from the sleet and freezing rain that's happening nonstop these days.
We were talking about this before we started recording, and it's been a crazy start to our semesters because both of us had just had so many there was the polar vortex that happened, but like snow days abound.
Yeah, they closed down campus. That like never happens on a college campus, but they like closed it down for almost 3 days last week.
It's crazy. And today it's like raining ice.
Yeah, it was raining ice today. Like my afternoon class got canceled and I had to drive back super slow because it was basically just sort of raining buckets of ice cubes. I thought about it. I was like, I could stick a cone out my window and have a snow cone while I'm waiting for traffic to clear up and it would be great. But
ooh, how was the traffic on the highway? I didn't ask you.
I mean, it was moving fairly slow. It moved better than maybe I expected it to. It was also like middle of the afternoon. Thank God it wasn't rush hour, but like, I don't know. I just took it slow and it was fine.
You know, here's a quick story that doesn't have to do with anything video game related, but I don't know if I've ever told you before. I one time had to drop my brother off at the airport, and so I dropped him off, and then I was going back up to Cedar Rapids, and I looked in my rearview mirror, I passed like a truck with like a container for a horse on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
A horse trailer. Trailer is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Anyway, I passed him, and then in my rear view mirror, I'm pretty sure I saw that trailer like flip out of control and a crazy accident happened.
Oh, really?
But I couldn't really see because there was other cars in between me and the trailer. And then I never looked up if there was a crazy accident or anything. But I'm pretty sure there was a horse in that trailer. And I think that horse just had a really bad time. It was like upside down.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that would be awful. No, but this morning, for real, I saw an accident on my way into class. I was still on the highway and I was in the left lane because everybody was exiting in the right lane and I didn't need to exit there. So I was in the left lane and I heard people skittering to a stop because they were somebody must have not been paying close enough attention. And I just, in my rear view mirror, I saw somebody hit somebody in front of them. I was like, ooh, that's a real mess right there. I'm glad I'm not behind those guys.
Imagine if you had just taken some time to eat a Pop-Tart at your house before you took off. You would have been in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't exiting there, so probably I wouldn't have been in that lane, hopefully. But, I mean, I definitely would have, traffic was already going pretty slow because there was a different accident that I didn't actually get to see that was backing up traffic already. And then that happened. So the people who were trying to get to Iowa City this morning had a real rough time of it. But whatever. Winter, indeed. Well, actually, it wasn't even doing anything. The roads were fine. It was whatever. People just weren't paying attention.
Should we get to the news?
I guess. We've fooled around long enough. Let's do this.
Biggest news story of the week this week. There were rumblings. You sent me some Twitter stuff on Sunday night that was like, hey, we're hearing that Respawn, the people who did Titanfall, are going to drop a battle royale tomorrow. And sure enough, at 8 a.m., did you tune into that live stream?
I did not.
So I was all excited, and I was like, oh, I'll be doing stuff in the morning. So I logged into their Twitch channel, and for 3 hours before they actually showed anything, it was just a static shot of a part of the Battle Royale map. And it was in real time almost, because you could see trees, foliage moving and whatnot. And then every 15 minutes, it would really loudly jump cut to some crazy action for half a second, and then just go back to trees and whatnot. But then I had to go to class, so I didn't actually see the reveal. But Apex Legends got revealed, and it's out now.
Yeah, surprise game that's in the Titanfall universe, I guess, but there are no Titans in it. And
there's a reason in the lore for why there aren't, because it takes place years after the events of Titanfall 2, I guess.
Yeah, I know nothing about the lore. I think it's interesting, the idea of just the game itself, that's sort of a blending of like the hero genre, like Overwatch, with the battle royale style thing.
It is a hero-based battle royale, which has not been done before.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going to do a battle royale, because it's already like a thing and there are so many different people trying to do it, at least have like an interesting twist on it.
And this is originally what I thought Blackout was going to be, because they were showing like the multiplayer for Call of Duty 4, and there were like basically heroes in it, where like there was the guy that would like drop that crazy piston thing that would make people go on fire or whatever, and like that grappling hook guy, and I was like, oh, are they going to like drop these into Blackout as well? That's not the case, but it is the case with this, and there are 8 heroes, and they have said that they're doing a battle pass type thing like Fortnite does, because this is free. It's 100% free. You can get it on, and it's any system except for Switch for now.
Unfortunately.
It's on the Source engine, just like Titanfall was. Or is it on the Source 2 engine? Remember when Source 2 was going to come out?
I don't know. Like, I saw the tweets that I saw that I shared with you were coming from Jason Schreier of Kotaku, and I think Eurogamer, like, they wrote articles about this, and like there were rumors where, I guess not even rumors, they had like interviewed people at Respawn who were talking about a Titanfall 3 being in development. And they were like, well, our engine is like, we almost need to get this game out now. And this was like probably like years ago or whatever, but they needed to get the game out because it was going to not look that great if they like delayed it or whatever. So they like, I don't know, need a new engine or something. I don't know what the case may be. I'm sure I don't have all those details right. You can look it up. It was on like Kotaku and Eurogamer. I'll probably find links for the show notes, but which is why I think the graphic style of this is like, it's stylized. It's not like over the top sort of cartoony like Fortnite, but it is like stylized. It's not going for the more realistic look that the Titanfall games were going for.
Now, you have played a little bit of it. I have been slammed this week and have not had time, but a couple of details. It does a lot of really interesting things that battle royales have not done. Specifically, like, and something that I think is really smart is there is a jump captain, or I forget, jump leader. So it's only groups of 3, but one person is assigned to be the person that picks where you jump, and you like control your 2 cohorts almost until you get low enough, and then you can all splinter off. But I think that's a really cool idea. The pinging system, I think, is very revolutionary. And that you can, like, I did the tutorial, but I haven't actually played a game yet. But like, you can middle mouse button on PC, click and just like ping something, and it says exactly what it is. So if you ping a gun, your teammates will know exactly what kind of gun it is and where it is, which is very cool. And if you double tap, that's like, oh, I've seen an enemy over there. And you can do a bunch of other things to where you don't even need voice chat almost, because since there is no solo mode, you have to play with other people. And if you don't want to talk to them, the pinging system is so refined and deep that you almost don't need mics in order to like collaborate with someone.
Yeah, it is a really good system. I like that aspect to it a lot because, like you said, like you can't play it by yourself. So there's no solos mode. So you have to play with random people if you're just getting on by yourself. And so at least they have like a really deep system to sort of account for that, so that you and your teammates who are probably not chatting can sort of do call outs for each other and sort of be communicating like in a nonverbal way. And your characters just do all the call outs for you. You just sort of like, hey, here's like a, level 3 armor or whatever, or here's this gun. And your teammates can come grab it. And then you can say, hey, let's go this way. And if you see an enemy, or like it's even deeper than that. Like you can say, I'm watching this direction or whatever, or like, so you can give it like really specific commands even. So it's a really good system. Now, obviously, like the teams that are communicating are probably the ones that are going to win. But I mean, it's possible.
In addition to pinging, you can also like tell people what you need. Like there's a button basically for saying like I need a backpack or like I need ammunition or something like that, and your character says it to like. So they've made it so that you can communicate without communicating, which is like so nice.
Yeah,
for
and they thought of everything too, because you can go into your inventory, and if there's like a thing, like say you need more ammo for one of your guns, like you said, you just like click on it, and your character will do a shout out and say, "I need more of this ammo," and then your teammate can drop you some, and you can pick it up.
Let's get into the characters, because this is what really makes this game I mean, it has a bunch of cool like quality of life battle royale things that I think are really smart, but also, I mean, the star of the show is the legends that you play as.
I think 6 of them you can pick from the start.
Are there 2 that are unlocked?
There are 2 of them that you have to unlock. So
interesting.
The ones that you have to unlock are Caustic and Mirage.
Caustic is the bad one with the smoke bomb or the like noxious gas.
Yeah.
Who's Mirage?
And Mirage is the guy that like...
Oh, the hologram guy.
Yeah, he'll send out holograms. That's like his sort of special ability or whatever.
Who did you play as when you played?
Well, so like I figured a good starter would be that Lifeline character who is like the medic. And yeah, it can toss out like a little drone that will heal teammates. And when you're reviving teammates, you get this little like shield that sort of protects you guys a little bit. It's only like in one direction. So like you can still get shot if they've got an angle on you, but it's a pretty nice character to start out with, I feel like. And then the like special or ultimate ability is this like care package thing where you call in this like drop pod that has like some random gear in it. And usually it's pretty decent gear. So that's a sort of a nice thing to have as well.
How often are you getting your ultimate?
Well, so you can pick up these ultimate accelerant things. And so if you like pick one up and you go into your inventory and you just sort of like immediately use that, it'll like, I don't know like the exact percentage, but you can sort of get your ultimate fairly quickly if you're using those. And in my experience, you can find those fairly easily. But I mean, I've not played a ton yet either. I've only played like a handful of games, and I've had some games that were fun and I was like, oh, I want more of this. And then I've had games that went very, very poorly and I was like, why am I even bothering with this? But I mean, that's just sort of battle royales in general, I guess. But
are you playing on PS4 or PC?
I downloaded it on both because I thought you were going to get it on PS4, but it sounds like maybe you got it on PC.
I did. I could also get it on PS4 though.
I mean, I did download it on PC, and that's, I think, where I've put the most time. But
I have never played a battle royale on a console before, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, I like the idea of that.
Well, I was going to say, like, there was a time where you were thinking about Blackout, like you wanted Black Ops 4, but you didn't want the full game. You just wanted Blackout. And I was like, well, they're not going to sell it separately, which is unfortunate because that would be a really good move on their part. But
for sure,
they want people to buy the entire game. But this, I feel like, is going to replace that for people because I know there's a lot of Fortnite players that don't really dig the like build mechanic, and they just play it kind of ignoring that. Just because I've heard people talk about that, where they're like, they just kind of don't really do the build mechanic stuff that much. So if they can play a free-to-play hero shooter or like just battle royale game that doesn't have that, I feel like they're just going to swap over to this.
How do you loot with a controller? That's, I think, the thing that really turns me off about console battle royales is like, I want the ability to swap stuff super fast by like improving my inventory game.
Well, I mean, you have to think about the fact that if it's slow for you with a controller, it's slow for everyone else as well. So in a way, there's like some sense of balance to it. But yeah, the other thing is, I guess you can bring up your inventory and still kind of strafe around the way you can in.
I noticed you could heal while you move too.
Yeah, and like you can call up your map as well and run around. So it's like
You can do that in PUBG.
Yeah, they just like they have these sort of systems in place so that even though you're sort of calling something up that is distracting to you, you can still move around. So I mean that's the case on console as well.
There's a battle pass where they're going to be introducing. I mean, it's just like Overwatch. They're introducing new legends, which are going to have new abilities and new guns.
I'm not going to lie, a lot of this feels like Overwatch.
So I haven't looked at the pricing for the battle pass. Have you?
I have not, no.
I wonder how much it is. I want to get into this game. I want to play it. I just haven't had the time. And I think if I do play it, it's possible that I'm going to get this battle pass because I'm interested in new characters and new abilities.
What's in it?
I think it's the thing that gets you the new characters. I think like it would be like if in Overwatch you had to pay a yearly fee in order to get the new characters they drop and the new weapons.
So essentially, it's just buying all the characters and unlocking them all at once instead of having to earn them, like just from getting currency from playing the game.
I think it's like the battle pass from like Smash Brothers. I think when new legends come out, you don't get them.
Like it's probably more comparable to the thing from Fortnite, but neither of us play Fortnite, so we don't really know.
That's a good point. Yeah, we don't really
I think it is supposed to be pretty much exactly like that, but we don't have that point of reference.
But I think when they're dropping new content, I don't think people with the base free game get it. Like they're going to drop if they dropped a crazy hamster ball legend, you wouldn't get that unless you have the battle pass.
See,
I think
you're probably right.
Because the infographic I saw was like, there's going to be 4 seasons and each season is going to have these 4 icons. And then at the top, it was like each icon means this. And one icon meant new legends. One icon meant new weapons. I don't remember what the other things are. New skins, maybe? New cosmetic stuff?
I'm looking at it right now. The year 1 roadmap shows in March they're going to have the battle pass for season 1. And in June, they've got new legends. In September, it's new weapons. And in December, it's new loot. And that's not very specific, but that's what the roadmap says.
Pricing?
It really doesn't even say.
Is the battle pass even available to buy right now?
Well, it says it's coming in March.
Interesting. You know, something else we didn't talk about. Another, like, added quality of life thing this Battle Royale has is when your teammates die, you have a couple of minutes, or actually, I don't know the length of time, but you have some time to go to their corpses or their crates or whatever and grab their, like, it's like a token or like a banner or whatever.
Yeah, I think they call it a banner.
And then you can go to these respawn areas that are throughout the map and you can respawn them even if they're completely dead, which I think is really cool. And it gives you a reason to keep playing if you die and then your other 2 friends live, instead of just like them quitting out or you having to watch them complete the game for another like 20 minutes. They can revive you even though you won't have anything when you'll have 0 items when you respawn. But that's like a really cool mechanic.
Yeah, it is kind of a cool mechanic, and like you said, it makes it so that if you die and you're playing with randoms, you might not just like leave the thing instead of like sitting there watching some random guy play for like 20 minutes without you. But
now, a thing that Fortnite does well, and I don't play Fortnite, but I'm aware of its happenings, is like they'll have crazy events. I mean, let's not forget Thanos dropped in to Fortnite, which was just like, what's happening?
Crazy.
And then like earlier this week, there was a live concert by someone in Fortnite, which I think is weird. But anyway, what do you think the odds are of them having these like weird event things? And more, the question I want to ask is, do you think ever there will be a way to call a Titan in this game?
I don't know. Like, I guess they could do something crazy like that, but like, how do they?
It would have to be hard to do, and it would have to maybe just be an event thing, like, oh, Titans have been found now, and like, do this specific thing, and you can get the drop, and you just like get one. Wouldn't that be crazy? I was gonna say
maybe they do it like, you know how in PUBG, like the plane will fly by and drop this random crate full of like goodies. Maybe it's like that where this plane just like goes over a random spot of the map and just like drops a Titan, and anybody can just go grab it.
So PUBG has done this. Have you heard about the new cave in PUBG?
I haven't, no.
Oh my God. So live servers went live, or not live servers, sorry. The test server went live with a new build of the game that added night mode for the snow map, Bikindi. And people all of a sudden were like, hey, there's like a weird colored rock formation in this one part of the map. And then someone drove a car into it, and they realized that under this mountain was a cave network. And in the cave network, there are like 3 supply drops with like level, like tier 3 everything, and like really good weapons that only drop in supply drops. And so now it was just like a mad dash to these caves. You can't just get into it. You need a vehicle or a grenade to blast your way in, but then everyone is going into it. And so a bunch of the streamers I've been watching have just been like doing these cave runs, and it's really fun, and they didn't tell anybody about it. It's just like a new thing. I don't think it's going to be in the live servers whenever it actually migrates, because having just like tier 3 stuff right away seems like it would break the game, and why wouldn't you just go to the cave?
Yeah.
But that stuff, I feel like they've learned it from Fortnite, where like a weird cube will appear on the map of Fortnite, and everyone's like, what does this mean? Or like a comet is going to come. What's going to happen? And I feel like these guys, Respawn, are so smart about this stuff, and this game seems so solid. Like, how could they not have these weird events planned? You know, like this evolving terrain almost of the game. So I'm excited to see if, I mean, how crazy would it be if they're like, hey, new patch, try to go to this one area, and then you press a button and you hear that sound of a Titan getting called, and you look up and you can see it coming down in the sky, and it just slams in front of you. That would be so cool.
That would be crazy. And you would, there's no way you would not win that match, but...
I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, if you ganged up, if there were like 3 teams of 3 on you, 9 people... I mean, I don't know. It's a good question. They would have to balance it really interestingly. They have seemed to not be into talking about Titanfall, which is weird to me. But yeah, I love that game.
I don't know. Yeah, Titanfall 2 was great. I didn't play really the multiplayer because I played the game way after launch, but yeah. I like the story mode was great.
I played a ton of Titanfall 1 to the point where like, I don't know if it's a Call of Duty or what, but you do that thing where like you rank up to the highest rank and then you reset your rank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I actually did that in Titanfall. I've never done that with any other game, but I just found the multiplayer so like frenetic, and like the movement abilities in that game, which I guess Apex Predator, or I keep saying Apex Predator, Apex Legends
doesn't have the wall running.
No, they don't have jump packs or
there
whatever.
Is like a slide thing you can do, and so if you like slide down a hill, you can basically build up a lot of speed and just like sort of keep going all until you stop sliding, I guess.
So here's a question I have for you, because you've played a couple and I have not played yet. I think I was watching Game Informer's video, and they mentioned that it's somewhat interior focused. Like there's a lot of interiors that you can go into, but having played it, do you think a Titan could work on that map? Are there large areas?
I don't know that I would call it interior focused. I mean, there are definitely spots in the map where like you're like sort of searching corridors for like weapons and stuff, and and obviously those can become like places where you shoot it out with somebody else. And I guess like I maybe need to explore more of the map, but most of the time I've been outside.
In areas big enough that a Titan could maybe run around?
Probably. I don't see why not.
Man, I just think that would be so cool. Because when you texted me that like screenshot of those tweets, I was like, man, a battle royale with Titans?
Well, that was what I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Me too,
because when we talked about Call of Duty doing a battle royale, we were like, if you're gonna do one, you have to put your spin on it. You have to do the thing you're known for, and this needs to be Titanfall Battle Royale. So this needs to be, have like the wall running and the Titans and everything. But it ended up not being called Titanfall. So like Titan's not in the name, and they're clearly going for something completely different than that. And they did, carve out their own niche doing the hero thing. It just, I think a lot of people were confused a little bit because it's so like if you weren't told that this was a game in the Titanfall universe, you might not know it if you looked at it. Other than maybe like I think all the guns are the same as they are.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like you wouldn't know that this was in the Titanfall universe.
Another cool thing we haven't talked about is that we talked about banners, but there are like giant banners all over the map, and I'm not sure what dictates this, but like players in the game you're in will show up on those banners with like statistics, which I think is really cool. And I don't know if I heard this, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think if there's a team that won their last match, then they could be on there and you get more points for taking them out. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so like while you're in a match, it'll tell you like these are like the, I forget what they refer to them as, but like whoever won the last round is like the like high priority target, or they're like the kill leader or something like that. And then it also like keeps track of who has the most kills, and it'll say like new kill leader or something like that. And I'm sure if you end up killing that person, you would get like a bonus, or you'd get like more points or something like that. And so yeah, it does seem to also be doing something where it's trying to make it almost seem like this is like a spectator sport type of a thing, although they don't like have an audience, and they're like not really leaning into the whole like spectator aspect of it. But like these were born out of like, you know, the Japanese movie Battle Royale and the Hunger Games, which was like a spectator thing, right? I mean, less so in Battle Royale's case, but like yeah, so this is kind of doing something that feels borrowed from that, which I guess is maybe in a way taking it to its roots in a way that PUBG and Fortnite, I don't think, do.
Pre-PUBG, there was a game, man, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was a Battle Royale before Battle Royales got hot, before PUBG dropped. And man, I wish I remember the name of it. Its thing was that it was televised. You could like look up at the sky, and the sky had like a hologram of like just like different statistics. You were in a special dome, and there were like commentators who were like, "Oh, that's not great. Like that guy got hit in the head," or something like that. And it was all about, you would get like points, and you could like purchase things to help yourself. Man, I wish I could remember the name of it. It was not great, but I watched a streamer play it for a couple hours one time. But yeah, it is like the opening cinematic, because I did the training did you do the training?
Yeah.
I did the training, and I think
which by the way, did like you get double voice lines throughout that entire
I did too,
thing?
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening right now? I can't like they're playing the previous voice line and the next one over top of each other, and now I have no idea what you're telling me.
It's very weird. But yeah, there's like an opening cinematic where it's this guy talking, and he's like, yeah, it's like a special thing, and he throws down like a Legends card. So it is almost like a game in that respect as well. Yeah. I don't know, it's an interesting lore. I feel like they're trying to do like deep lore because they have this universe to build on, this Titanfall universe.
Very much like Overwatch, where
that's a good
like
point.
You could almost do like a little animated short film type of a thing for each of these characters. If you're gonna do a hero shooter, they need to have like some sort of lore or some sort of story that you can go to and sort of get some sort of perspective on who that character is and sort of gain like an attachment to them, which I don't know, like it hasn't built there for me yet, but maybe it's just because I've played a lot more Overwatch than this game. But
I'm very excited for this, and I can't wait to play. This has just been like, it's the worst week this could have come out, because I'm gone this weekend, and I close at my other job like 2 nights this week, so I have to do a ton of homework before I leave town on Friday. So I have not let myself play this yet, except for the training.
Well, the good news is this isn't like a beta or a demo or anything. This game is just out.
It's just out. Yeah.
Can we just acknowledge how bonkers it is that they kept this thing under wraps the whole time and just like surprise dropped it on everybody? Like nobody knew that this thing existed.
Nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And like the day before, people were like, oh, maybe something. But like to keep hold of it, even for just like a day in advance, is insane.
Like leaks happen all the time with like everything. So it's crazy that this game was held under wraps for as long as it was. And what was that one game that we played that like Cliff Bleszinski guy was trying to make, like a battle royale that we played that was terrible, and we have a video up on our channel of? That game was terrible. So you can see
crashed and burned.
So you can see like how hard it is to do one of these well and to do it like polished like this, and that they were able to do it completely under wraps. Like that all, it kind of blows my mind that this thing exists and is here and is just out.
We should play a round of this and put the video on our channel.
It would not last long if we did that, because I am awful at it, but we could do that.
I think that would be fun. Yeah, I want to play a couple of rounds and actually get decent at. I mean, I still log in and play PUBG every couple of weeks, but I feel like I need to
Here's
refine.
the thing about battle royales. They're so much more fun if you have somebody to play them with. And so, like, in order to get better at it, you need to practice, but, like, our schedules don't always sync up. So I don't know. Like, I'll play, like, 3 rounds and it'll last, like, 10 minutes. And I'll be like, well, that did not go well. I guess I'll check in again later. But I don't know.
Yeah, we should schedule some time and play. And then once both of us are confident enough, we should record some stuff.
Yeah, maybe from your perspective, because you'll probably live a little bit longer than me. But yeah, you were talking about how this week you're too busy. That's unfortunate, because there's another thing happening this week that I'm very depressed that you will maybe not be able to take part in.
I'm so bummed. I have to go watch my parents' dog and take a cooking class.
Take a cooking class? I didn't know you were doing that.
They not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, they were like, hey, we're going to get you and your girlfriend a cooking class, because we did it and it was really fun. And I was like, great, I'll try to schedule some time for that. And then nothing, I was always too busy. And then I moved, obviously, this year, because I was always just like, let's wait for the move. And then I did move, and then we just have not had the time, because then she was traveling, and then it was, I don't know. But anyway, my parents were like, hey, can you watch our dog? And I was like, sure. And they were like, hey, now you can finally do that cooking class. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I guess I could do that. So I'm going to go learn how to make sushi at a Sur La Table. And I will be very sad, because I will not be playing the Division 2 beta.
Yeah, we stretched that segue way out. But yeah, the Division 2 beta is happening this week. It's happening Thursday. And so, yeah, if you pre-ordered the game, you can download that and play that this weekend. And I guess I'm going to dive in. I've been back and forth.
You seem hesitant about it. You seemed, because we were talking earlier, and you said you were not really sold on or you were more interested in the fiction behind the Anthem universe than you are in the Division universe.
Yeah,
you found the Division universe somewhat
we
bland.
were texting back and forth a little bit, and we discovered that we're a little bit opposite on these upcoming looter shooter game as service games. Like, we both like Destiny, but I'm more into Anthem and you're more into the Division. And yeah, I was just like, I was thinking about it earlier, and I don't remember a lot about the Division 1. I remember you're in New York City. There's some sort of terrible disease has spread around and killed a bunch of people, and you eventually fight a helicopter, and that's about all I remember.
I didn't even remember that before you said it. I remember 0% of the story, except that one of the factions was firefighters who'd gone insane. What I remember about it is just the solid shooting, and I remember it feeling very good to throw a turret down and use my other power, and then just go crazy on a group of people. And I remember the Dark Zone being interesting, but as far as the story, there was the Asian lady whose face was bandaged, and that's the only person I remember.
I couldn't tell you what her name was, but I do vaguely recall that.
And I don't even remember what the resolution. We beat the story, but I couldn't tell you what happened. I just remember running around and looting stuff. It had a good loot system, because I remember I was always getting new stuff.
Well, to a point. I think the endgame loot people found really lackluster, but we didn't really quite make it that far to start trying to get that stuff. But
everyone, when they talk about Division 1, they always talk about that 8.1 patch or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it got crazy, or 1.8 or whatever it was called. And they've apparently talked a lot about making improvements to the end game. A bunch of people came out with like end game videos this week.
Yeah, I watched some of those.
Embargo. But I don't know. I'm not super invested in the story either, I guess. But for whatever reason, I just had a lot of fun playing The Division.
No, I mean, I don't have anything against it. It seemed kind of forgettable to me because, like, I like Tom Clancy games of old. Like, I used to play a lot of Ghost Recon. Like, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2 was, like, the first game I got into on Xbox Live back on the 360. And, like, I remember, like, old Rainbow Six games as well. And so, like, in that sense, like, I enjoyed it as well as I enjoyed any other, like, third-person cover-based shooter. Like, they do those really well. But, like, I don't know. I didn't find the loot all that interesting, for one. It's just, like, I don't remember if it was, like, the blue M16 or, like, the gold M16 or something like that. And then, like, you didn't really have armor. It was just like jackets and hats or whatever.
We were the pink jacket crew, remember?
We were.
Or was it purple jackets?
It was purple jackets. I do remember that now. And that was kind of fun, I guess. But like, you're not really getting like cool armor to like kit yourself out with. And just like when I compare the like 3 games in this genre, like the big ones, like with Destiny, like there's some sort of like jumping and that's kind of cool. And like you have these powers and everything. And in Anthem, you're flying and you have crazy powers. So it's just like the Division's like movement and everything is kind of like slower and everything. And that's fine. It's just like after playing Anthem and like knowing that I also have Destiny on the back burner, it was just like, do I want to add another one of these games? And especially one that's just sort of a pretty standard issue, like third person cover based game. And like the other weird disconnect I think I had with the Division was like, it makes sense in like a sci-fi setting or a fantasy setting to like have these bad guys that are like this big like alien creature that's sort of a bullet sponge and you have to shoot like a bunch of times and unload like 10 clips on, and then but you can kind of justify it because you're like, well, it's like maybe it's an alien creature that has like some crazy hard like hide that you're having a trouble breaking through or something like that. But like when it's just a guy in like a t-shirt and like he's holding a gun or whatever, you're just like, this it seems weird a little bit.
It is weird, yeah.
But at least they've like in the Division 2, I think they've made an effort to like have sort of armored enemies that like the ones I saw in the videos that people have been producing this week were like, they look like they were wearing like the Brotherhood of Steel armor from Fallout. And so like you can shoot them, and as you damage their armor, it'll eventually like break off, and then there's like a weak point where you can shoot them and kill them. So at least that makes a little bit more sense. So it's, the disconnect is maybe going to be a little bit less in this game, I think, but I don't know. Maybe I'll come around on it. I just like, I also didn't love the Dark Zone because it felt kind of like I've talked about how I don't really like Red Dead Online or like Sea of Thieves or like those types of games that are just sort of semi-open world and you just like go in there and you're supposed to explore and do like little quests, but like watch out because any minute some guy you don't know may or may not just come along and shoot you and kill you and steal your loot from you. Like I will pretty much never find that a compelling thing to play over and over again. So
there have been many tweaks to the Dark Zone in this one, where especially the one I'm most interested in is how 2 of the 3 Dark Zones are going to be normalized. So it'll be like Destiny's PvP, unless it's Iron Banner, where no matter what your level is and what your gear level is, everything is normalized in this zone, except for the special one, where it's always like maxed out, do whatever you want, basically. So you're not just going to be getting picked off by people with elite tier stuff. You're all going to have like normalized gear, so at least it'll be level on that aspect.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm too traditionalist where I think like I'd rather just have like, I want a playlist of strikes and I want a playlist of PvP stuff. I don't want to just like go into this free roam space and like not really have a lot of like direction and then just be like, well, you found some loot because you killed some random NPC, but good luck getting it out of here because somebody's probably going to come kill you and take it from you. It's like, usually that'll happen to me once or twice. I'll be like, well, I guess I'm done with this. Like, why would I keep playing this? But yeah, I think I did see some of that stuff about the different dark zones, and it did seem more interesting to me than the dark zone from the first division. So, I mean, we can always check that out, and I think some of the in-game activities could still be fun. It definitely seems like there's going to be more to this Division game than there was to Division 1. Like, both Ubisoft and BioWare have tried to, like, get out in front of the whole, like, this is our in-game stuff, like, you know, because they know you have to now because of, like, there's been a bad history with Destiny and the first Division. So, like, people are pretty aware at this point that they need to offer you a compelling end game. So they've both, like, even within just the last week, have been trying to get content out there to talk about what their end game is like so that people kind of know what to expect going into it. So I think it does interest me more than the idea of going back to play more of the Division 1, which is something I would not do, but I have to think about whether I'm gonna, I guess year 1 DLC is free. That's correct, right?
Yeah, I don't really know. You were sending me this graphic, and I thought they promised, like, all DLC is going to be free for this game. But there might be some sort of, again, a battle pass or something.
It was weird. I looked up a video about, like, the different versions of the game, and apparently there are 6 of them. And even after watching that video, it was not clear to me how they're different other than, like, the pricing of them. But it seems like if you get, like, a more premium version of it, you can, like, play the DLCs, like, early. But
so it's just like a pre-order bonus type thing.
I guess, but it's not like the other people who paid the regular amount don't still get access to that stuff. It was confusing to me because it's also worded that, like, year 1 DLC is free, which leads me to believe that they're not sure what they're going to do beyond that. But so it's more interesting to me that at least, like, some of the DLC is going to be free. Like, I'm all about not having to pay for DLC, so I guess, I don't know. I've been back and forth on the Division 2, basically, but I sat there earlier today with my finger on the button, and I waited because I wanted to see what you had to say about it. I wanted you to convince me that I needed to pre-order the game so that I could play the beta this week and then look forward to playing more of it later.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we should. I mean, if you're going to be diving into Anthem, I don't mind waiting. I don't need to get Division 2 on day 1, especially if I get super into Apex Legends. We can hold off on Division 2 a little bit, and maybe you'll convince me to get Anthem. Or maybe we'll see reviews about Division 2. I don't know.
Here's the thing. So, one, I'm playing Anthem on PC, so unless they have...
I could get it on PC.
Could you really? Does you think your PC would run it?
That's a good question.
I would love it if it would run it, and that you got it on PC.
I mean, it runs Apex Legends pretty well.
It might run it. You never know.
I should go to that system requirement lab site and see. I have not updated my graphics card in like 6 or 7 years. So.
Friend of the show, Ryan, who did our music, got a new PC because he wants to do, like, creative stuff. But it'll be powerful enough to play games. So I've been trying to convince him to get Anthem as well. So we'll see. We might have, like, a group of people to play the game with on PC.
TBD. I'll think about it. I'll run that test and see if I can play it at, like, lowest recommended settings.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was going to say is I kind of want to get into the Division 2, if only so that we can, like, talk about it and maybe make some videos about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. We'll have to. I might need to think a little bit more about it. I think the thing that might end up making me just bite the bullet and pre-order it is the fact that I'm probably going to be, like, iced in over the weekend and have nothing else to do. So I might end up wanting to play this game
You could always play Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, Zach.
That's a good point, because there is a brand new character.
A surprise drop 2 Fridays ago, I feel like. Maybe it was last Friday. Time moves so slowly. But the Piranha Plant is now available if you pre-ordered, or not even pre-ordered, if you just like bought the game and you registered your Nintendo account. It's a weird process in order to be able to have this character.
It was super confusing to me.
You had to like, if you bought it digitally, it was no issue, and it was totally fine. You just got it. But if you bought it physically, which I think a lot of people did, you had to register. First of all, you have to have a My Nintendo account.
You had to do this even if you got it digitally, because I got it digitally,
really?
And I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I had to look it up.
Interesting. But we got it. What do you think of this new character?
I played around with it a little bit, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. It's got some, like, it took me a while to figure out how to do some of the moves. It wasn't as immediately clear to me with this character as it is with a lot of the other ones, where, like, if you press B, you can, like, aim with it. The Piranha Plant's B moves, you know, in all the different directions, you can kind of, like, angle the pot for the Piranha Plant, and so he'll like do his attack to the left or right or up and down. It took me a long time to realize that, because initially I was just hitting that button and he was like going straight up in the air. I was like, oh, so that's all he does? That's weird. But
you can trick people out with that, because you can shoot your poison cloud, get in the cloud, and then they don't know which way you're going to pop out of it with your down B.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting character, and I think it's also, it felt pretty tough, like survivable, like it doesn't launch very easily.
Yeah, its up B is very nice. Like, it has great recovery.
Yeah. So did you spend much time with it?
Yeah, I played around with it. I finally unlocked all the characers, and then...
Oh, did you? I don't think I'm that far yet.
The next day, they dropped Piranha Plant, so I was like, oh, great, another character. So I played around with it. It's pretty fun. I haven't done its story mode yet, but I heard its story mode is you play all the newcomers, culminating in fighting that Rathalos. But yeah, it seems good. I am interested to see when Joker comes out.
That's the one I'm really looking forward to.
And have they set a release date for that yet?
Not that I'm aware of, but perhaps I've missed it.
So we'll see, and I'm interested to see if when they reveal, I mean, I'm sure at E3 they're going to reveal a new character and so on, and, you know, Tokyo Game Show and whatnot. Once we get into game show season, I mean, here's a prediction. The final DLC character will be revealed at next year's Game Awards. What do you think about that?
Well, so how many are they doing? They're doing 5?
They're doing 3 more, I think.
I thought they were doing 5, not including Piranha Plant.
I thought they were doing 4, not including Piranha Plant.
Maybe they are doing 4.
E3 for sure will be the announcement of 1.
Yeah.
And then a mystery one, and then Game Awards? I don't know. What do you think?
It could be. I mean, that would make sense.
Nintendo has a great relationship with the Game Awards, because they announced that Zelda DLC that dropped day of. They announced the Joker DLC. Like, they've always got a bombshell to drop at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. Otherwise, it would just be some sort of reveal for one of their other games, I guess, but...
Not Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, which... I guess it's fine that they want to get it right and they don't want to like rush something out and just have like a bad game, but whatever.
Yeah, I've never played a Metroid or a Metroid Prime 4 or a Metroid Prime.
I've never played a Metroid Prime, so I'm not super invested in it either, but... the SNES one, Super Metroid. I've played that one. I didn't finish it, but I've played some of that one. Anyway,
that kind of died because neither of us like have any information about like. I feel like neither of us are like super into Metroid. But what about this Sony thing? I didn't actually see this.
So this is a story that kind of popped up randomly a few days ago, and Sony has apparently got some new patents that have fans hoping that the PlayStation 5 will have backwards compatibility. And
how important is backwards compatibility to you? Not
super, I'll be honest. A lot of the games that I like from the 360 generation that I just sort of gave up when I made the switch to PS4, I have rebought through Steam when they were like on sale for like a couple dollars, and I have still not played them. So I guess it's just sort of nice to have, but like I probably wouldn't actually spend much, if any, time playing old games.
More what I want is like remasters. Like I remember the PS3 had like a an up-resed version of Shadow of the Colossus, which was fine. But then they released that brand new 2018 Shadow of the Colossus, and that's what you really want. Like, you don't want like just like an up-resed old game. You want Resident Evil 2 2019 is what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when it comes to like older stuff. But like for this previous generation, like I'm sure somebody could get a PS5, and if like Horizon Zero Dawn is playable on it, they could play it and it would be fine. It wouldn't be like, oh, you need to remaster this because it's looking real shoddy.
If there were games from the last, like if let's say you're on Xbox One and you got a PS5 and now suddenly you have access to like God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn and all these like first party like titles, that's a super good sell for that. Like, hey, guess what? Every PS4 game also.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a boon.
I agree. Like, it should be there. It's one of those things where, like, if you're in the Sony ecosystem and you've been buying Sony consoles for years, you should, just like anybody who's ever bought a game on Steam, on PC, every time you get a new PC and you open up Steam, your entire library is still there. It should be the same on consoles. Like, when you buy the PS5, you should be able to open up the Sony store and all the games you've ever bought on there, you should be able to download on your new console. That's just sort of a place that console has always sort of fallen short of PC gaming, and one of the reasons why I eventually bought a gaming PC was because I was a little bit bummed that when I did move from Xbox 360 to PS4, initially I was bummed that I was kind of like leaving behind an entire console full of games that I had bought and played for hours on end. But even if I probably don't go back and play them much, if ever, just the fact that they're there and I have the option is nice. And like you said, for somebody who's maybe swapping platforms, it's nice to be able to grab games from previous generations as well.
I mean, it's pretty much only applicable for Sony because I can't think of any Xbox One stuff that I would like if the next Xbox had backward compatibility. Like, what's a Xbox One game that PlayStation doesn't have? Like, they don't really have first-party stuff.
I mean, they don't right now. They probably will within the next couple of years.
I don't care about Gears of War.
Well, no, but
that's the only one I can think of. Oh, Halo.
Yeah, I mean, there's Halo, which is like...
I forgot about Halo.
Halo's the only one that you can't also buy on PC, is the thing. But their whole thing about E3 was like, look at all these studios we bought to buy to make us exclusive games. So like, you won't for probably the Xbox One generation, but like come next Xbox generation, that's probably when you'll...
Next box.
The next box. That's what they should call it, honestly.
I mean, I agree. Zach, do you remember when we were talking about that Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and I said, I'm super into Dragon Ball Z, but I want an action RPG?
I saw that you added this to the notes, and I was like, wait, did they just totally watch our Dragon Ball Fighters video and say, that seems like a good idea? And now they're making it.
Yeah, it's from the perspective of Goku, and I think it tells like the original Dragon Ball Z story. But I think that's what it is. Like, the details are a little scarce, but I'm pretty sure it's like a third-person RPG where you are Goku and you're going around in a semi-open world, maybe.
That is exactly what you said you wanted, and exactly something that I have wanted as well. So I would definitely play this game.
Doesn't this seem great?
It does. It seems exactly like what we want.
It's called Project Z right now, but I think that's probably going to change. But I mean, I think it's by it's by CyberConnect 2, who I think made Azura's Wrath, which people are into. But this is just something to keep an eye on. Maybe we'll see something at E3. But I saw this and I was like, oh my god, this is like exactly what we need in our world.
I know. If you go watch our Dragon Ball Fighters video, you will literally hear Aaron say, what I thought I wanted was a Dragon Ball RPG game. Lo and behold, they are making you one, Aaron.
Like, imagine this. Like, you punch a bunch of, like, Cybermen, or I don't even remember what happened in Dragon Ball Z, but, like, you beat a bunch of people up, and then you're collecting orbs, and then you go into your inventory, and you can, like, upgrade your Kamehameha, or, like, you upgrade, like, you're going to get Kaioken. Like, I don't know, just, like, crazy stuff is going to happen.
Well,
I'm interested to see how it translates into RPG elements.
Imagine a skill tree where you can, like, sort of go into more, like, Piccolo-style attacks, or, like, more Goku-style attacks, or more, like, Kid Buu-style attacks, or something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, there's so many different things they could do with it that would just be amazing.
This could be Anthem, Zach. Like, you're going to be able to fly in this game.
It's true. You could fly. You're playing as Goku. I almost wish that it was like a game in from the sound of it. They make it sound like you're going to be playing through just all the events of the Dragon Ball.
That is the one
storyline.
bummer. Yeah, it is just going to be just like straight up. Oh, this is what happened.
Yeah. So like ideally, it would just be this sort of open world RPG game where you live in the Dragon Ball universe and you are a character and you're sort of building yourself up. But this is specifically, it says you're playing as Goku and you are playing through the storyline of the Dragon Ball universe.
Here's the question. How much time do you think you're going to spend, 1, on Snake Way, and 2, on King Kai's planet?
That's a good, well, I mean, you have to go there at some point, so...
You have to, because you're going to have to run. It's like the second thing that happens in the series. like, are you going to have to spend... Is a chapter of the game going to be you just running on Snake Way for a long time?
Yeah.
And also, like, when you get to King Kai's, like, definitely you're going to have to catch that monkey. Or no, what was it? Catch the monkey and then catch the firefly. Like, is there going to be a mechanic for there being high gravity? Because a big thing in that series is like, guess what? There's high gravity now. Or like, guess what?
Is there going to be
has high gravity.
Is there going to be like a training sequence and like, what is it called? Those
hyperbolic time chamber.
The hyperbolic time chamber where you like turn up the gravity like a crazy amount and then you just like train for a long time.
I'm very interested in this, and I want to know more. And we probably won't know more until like E3 or more likely the Tokyo Game Show, because I don't know how early on in development this is. There's a trailer, but it doesn't really show a lot.
Yeah, it's very exciting, even though it's not quite the open world like freedom thing that we were expecting. But it'll still be really cool to like play through the entire story of Dragon Ball Z as Goku.
Do you want to talk about, so did you played the Anthem demo on PS4 this time around with the open beta, right?
Yeah, so this will be kind of a follow-up to our previous podcast where we talked about the VIP demo, and I played that one entirely on PC, and this one, I downloaded it on PS4 just to, like, for science, to compare. I did still like, I wanted to play more of the Colossus because I really didn't, like, I only played it once because there was just not very much time left when they
You said you played with a controller on PC, right?
I did, yeah. Control-wise, it's the same, just translate it from an Xbox controller to a PS4 controller, but, so... I don't know if this is like a limitation of my old base model PS4, but like it's the same thing with Apex Legends, and I'm worried about the Division 2, honestly, but it's like things just don't play as well as they do on my PC when it comes down to it. I mean, the server connectivity and loading bug that like plagued the VIP demo were fixed. And so that's a huge relief, like a huge sigh of relief for everybody who were worried that the launch of Anthem was going to be super rocky. But actually, the like weird release schedule, depending on the version of the game that you bought that everybody was like mocking last week, is actually going to help, I think, in the long run, because between the two different demos, and like the Origin Access subscribers being able to play it on the 15th, like they're going to be able to work through a lot of those like growing pains and just be like ready to go by the 22nd when the game officially launches for everyone. But yeah, it was real rough on the PS4 version of the game. And when I played it on PC, like there were bugs. There was like a whole set of new bugs that was mildly concerning until like you go to Twitter and you're like, hey, I had this bug, and the devs are like, oh yeah, we know it's fixed in the main game. And so
we get it.
Yeah. Well, to an extent, you're like, this is not like the main game that they're working from. This is like an old whatever. So like, who cares? Like, it's fixed. Just whatever. And they were like weird sort of UI things. They were like the storm. When you activated your ult, like when you were done with it, the ult UI that's different from like the regular UI would get stuck on your screen and just stay there. And then it would go away if you used another ult, but you didn't know when yours was done charging because you couldn't see the rest of your regular UI. And then if you had other teammates on your team that were also Storm, anytime they activated one, it would pop up on your screen as well. It was like weird bugs. And then there was one with the Interceptor where like this only happened on console. I didn't see this on PC, but like there would be a like black circle like right in front of the face of the Interceptor character. And so anywhere you went, it didn't happen to me because I wasn't playing an Interceptor, but like there was an Interceptor on my team, and just like any time it flew past me, there would just be this like blue or black circle like right on their head, and it was really weird. But they said all of that stuff was fixed for the main game, so like you kind of take the bugs with a grain of salt. But for whatever reason, it was more buggy than the VIP demo. However, what's way more interesting than any of that is that the two things actually. So the in-game content embargo lifted on like the YouTubers and the gaming outlets that were invited out to see like some of the in-game content. So they started posting videos about some of that stuff. And so they got to see like what some of the like what is it, legendary, like the high end like late game drops were going to be like, and also just like they got to see another one of the strongholds. And
I didn't know they got a new stronghold.
Yeah, so I think there's supposed to be 3 in total. Kind of wish there was more than just 3, but
there's only 3. Those are the strikes you said, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be adding more of those. But yeah, it's weird that there's only 3 at the start. But
maybe there's different variants of them.
I mean, there's definitely different difficulty, and there are different like little things. Like they said that the orb collection parts of like the Swarm Tyrant one and like the turret locations were just sort of
randomized.
Yeah, they were kind of randomized. So there are little touches like that as well. But yeah, the other the other stronghold looks pretty interesting because the boss mechanics, you were actually asking about this last time, they're definitely more interesting than they are in the Swarm Tyrant one, because there are like a series of fans that are like putting out a shield over the like boss. And so you have to go like shoot certain parts of the fans to get them to like stop, and then that'll like lift the shield on the boss so that you can do damage to them. So they're playing around with different mechanics, which is always a good sign.
Yeah.
And this one also, to contrast the wide open area of the Swarm Tyrant one, seems to be like a little bit more claustrophobic, taking place in sort of like a mine or something that you're like sort of going through. So I thought that was interesting as well. And it's they didn't really show enough of like what types of things that you can get as far as like legendary drops go. So it's hard to really tell for sure just how interesting some of those are going to be. But they did show like a masterwork ability that you can get, and they have like intrinsic perks on them. And those intrinsic perks are like, obviously they're tied to the ability itself, or in like the weapon's case, the weapon. And then there's also the other like 3 or 4 perks that you have on the bottom of the card. So yeah, you can get into some like really interesting builds for these different characters.
So it's almost like the Masterworks are almost like an exotic
kind of,
type
but
thing?
Unlike,
because they have like a specific special perk, like when you do your ice blast, your ice is actually fire or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And they, I don't remember what the ones that the people were showing off said, but yeah, there was stuff like that. But the cool thing is you could make all of your gear masterwork. It's not like an exotic in Destiny where you can only have one gun and one piece of armor that's exotic. You could have masterwork everything. So you can become super powerful, but that just means that like the Grandmaster 3 tier difficulty is just really, really hard. But yeah, the other interesting thing that happened over the weekend was there was sort of a surprise reveal on Sunday afternoon, which...
Oh, yeah, I saw you tweeting about this.
Yeah, so this was like a thing. They were like, oh, what's that? And then like everybody just like went into free roam and they just saw this like big storm forming. And if you remember back to the original like E3 showcase that they did, there was like this thing that they called a shaper storm. And like the winds got all crazy and it was dark and it was raining and there was this like crazy stuff going on. And they like were like, well, do we go in? And so they went in and everybody's like, well, what does all this mean? Like, what is it? What's going to happen with that? Like, and so what they showed was just like very, very brief, very, very slight glimpse as to like what that type of thing will be in the end game. And so it is like you're out in free roam and like meteors will start falling and the skies will get all dark and like crazy looking. And then like all these like ash titans were spawning and there would be like one of those huge ash titans that you saw in some of the other E3 footage. Mm-hmm. And so everybody will like group together to like try to fight them and take them down. And it's this like big challenge, and of course you get a bunch of like drops for it. So that stuff seemed kind of cool, and it was nice that it was just sort of a random thing that happened as well. It wasn't like something that they really told people about. And
I like that. I like when developers do that surprise thing in open world games.
Yeah, and they did say that was only like the beginning. Like there's a lot more that they can do. They've also sort of touted the fact that they can they have the freedom to sort of change the world like whenever they want on the fly. And so I don't know what that means. Are they gonna like maybe in December it'll be like all snowy and they'll be like,
oh, that'd be cool.
They'll be like some sort of like crazy beefed up Ash Titan, or maybe like the Swarm Tyrant is just sort of running around out in free roam or something like that. Like, who knows what it means? It could mean anything.
Ooh, Zach, do you think that Apex Legends is going to have like Christmas themed skins? Probably, definitely, right?
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Of course they would.
Halloween even?
I mean, if they're following the Overwatch model, which
they are.
They definitely are. Like every time you open a box, like it's basically exactly like opening one for Overwatch.
And so, I mean, does Anthem have loot boxes?
No loot boxes.
No loot boxes.
There are microtransactions. There's like sort of an Eververse store type of thing. Yeah. But you can earn them all just by playing the game. You don't have to buy them. And all the like future content, all the story related DLC, all of that will be free.
That's great. Well, I'm sure we'll learn more. When is this dropping? Next week? 2 weeks from now?
So it'll be available for like on PC for like the Origin Access Premier subscribers on the 15th, and then it'll be out for everyone else on the 22nd.
15th is not far away, Zach.
It is next week, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Man, so we'll have tons more videos on that, but we were gone a little bit over, but do you want to talk briefly about what we've been playing / watching?
Yeah, so I did post a video on our YouTube channel that was sort of...
a wonderful review. It's our first review.
It's very, very brief. It's not super in-depth, but I just wanted to, I played this game called Pikuniku that's just this, really silly sort of 2D puzzle platformer adventure game. And it's got a great sense of humor and some really catchy music. And you should go check that video out because it's a lot of fun.
It made me buy the game.
Oh, you did buy it?
Well, I'm going to buy it whenever I turn my Switch on, but I'm definitely going to buy it because it looks great.
It's definitely worth it. I had a lot of fun with it, and there's definitely co-op stuff you could do. So you could just pass your girlfriend one of your Joy-Cons and you guys could play together. So
yeah, that sounds great. I don't remember, did I talk about Gris on the last podcast?
I've heard you mention this game, but I honestly know nothing about it.
I played it. So it's this very artistic game, and you play this girl who has lost her voice. I mean, it's all a metaphor for things, but it's a nice little 2D platformer. kind of like notes of Inside a little bit, or Limbo, where there's some puzzle solving mechanics and you're getting new abilities, but it's very beautiful and it's very color based. Gris, I guess, means gray in French. Oh, you would know this because you're in French class.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, this is a Spanish developer. Could it be Spanish as well?
Oh, maybe. What is the word for? Not important. Anyway, it means gray in another language.
I should say this is also published by Devolver Digital, which published Pikuniku. That's crazy.
We're
very on brand.
We're very on brand. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It took me like 3-4 hours to beat. It's a short little game, but it's very beautiful. And I had a lot of fun in playing it. It's just like, it's very chill. There's like one collectible that's kind of hard to get. So it's like, it adds a little bit more challenge. You don't have to get it, but I don't know if you get a different ending. And there's like cute little characters, and I would say like once an hour you get a new ability that kind of mixes things up. But it's a little short, but I really enjoyed it. It's on Switch, so I played it on Switch. It was nice.
I'm looking at images of it. It looks like watercolor.
Yeah, it is. So it starts out, you lose all the color in the world, and then bit by bit you regain a color. And when you regain a color, you get a new ability. And I think there's like 4 colors maybe. But it's very beautiful. The music is great. It's up to interpretation what it means. But it's great. And then also briefly, Zach, I don't know if you know this, and probably you don't have a need for this, but did you know that because we are college students, we qualify to get this like Spotify package where it's Spotify and Hulu and Showtime, and you just pay $5 a month?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I did it. So now I don't really have a need. I was looking for a way to play specific music for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and Spotify, if you don't have premium, is just like on random, which is terrible. But I can just play the Skyrim soundtrack if I want to now, just by talking to my Google Home. And I have Hulu, and I have Showtime for $5 a month for a year.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I already pay for
like
Google Play Music, so I already have like a music.
Yeah, so you don't really need that. Yeah.
But no ads in YouTube, I will say, is one of those things that I probably couldn't go back to.
Yeah, I would imagine that's pretty great. I had it briefly when I got a Google Home. I had like they did a promotion where you had YouTube Red for like a month and a half or something. But
yeah.
Anyway, if you're a student, definitely check out that Spotify. Google like Spotify student something, and you can get for $5. It's 3 services. It's a really good deal.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I almost kind of want to check it out just because I've never had Hulu before, and I know they have like,
it lets you watch like Comedy Central stuff.
Yeah, I know they have like more recent TV stuff than like Amazon Prime or Netflix are gonna have. So
yeah.
But another thing I want to throw in here that not playing or watching, but reading or more listening to, because I listen to the audiobook on my commute to and from class, but it's a book called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels by Jason Schreier, the Kotaku game journalist. And it like delves into sort of the story behind like the development of like a bunch of different games. Like each chapter goes through a different game. And it was super interesting to the point where like even when I would reach my destination, I just like wanted to keep listening to it because like the stories themselves are very interesting, but also it's just like well done, like well researched and well written. But yeah, like they talked about Dragon Age Inquisition. They talked about The Witcher 3. They talked about Diablo 3. There's a bunch of different games are in there, and it's all very interesting. So yeah, if you can't...
Does he narrate it?
No, it's somebody else. I don't know who did the audiobook, but it was a pretty good like reader or narrator. But yeah, I would definitely say check that out if you're interested in like how games get made, which I found pretty interesting. But so check that stuff out. Aaron, give us your parting wisdom.
Zach, the Super Bowl was this previous weekend.
It was, wasn't it?
And I decided to try and make my own mozzarella sticks. And Zach, it's very easy, and everyone should do it. All you need is a bunch of eggs, some panko breadcrumbs, preferably Italian panko breadcrumbs, and some just straight up cheese sticks, like string cheese, just like that white string cheese you eat. And you just get the string cheese, you dip it in the egg, and then you rub panko on it, and then wait for it to dry, and then dip it in the egg again and double bread it. Put it in the fridge for like 30 minutes, and then boil it in some oil, and it's the best mozzarella stick you'll ever have. It's great. And I'll probably do it again when I'm hosting a party, which I will never do because I don't enjoy people's company. But maybe I'll do it for the next Super Bowl.
Well, you're also going to learn how to make sushi, it sounds like, which...
Oh, yeah, that's a super good point.
I do love sushi, so maybe you'll have to explain how sushi gets made on the
Totally, yeah. Show. Maybe on the next podcast, I'll tell you all about my sushi making adventure at a Sur La Table in Naperville, Illinois.
I kind of wish that you would also take your PS4 so that you could play some Division, but it sounds like you're going to have your hands full, so...
Yeah, I think we might also go see the Lego Movie Part 2 as well. Which comes out on Friday.
Well, you'll have to put that in our what we've been playing, watching section and tell me about it.
But until then, we'll see you next time on an episode of Starside Chat.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.